there were some right now. There are some reports out there. I want to again take this opportunity to say that that some of the reports are false, and it's through no fault of their own. I think there is some miscommunication between Michigan and King right now, but there are some reports out there that suggest that Dennis Norfleet has been kicked off of Michigan's team. Talking to people on both sides at King and also at Michigan. What's going on now is he's been suspended, so he hasn't been dismissed yet. His career at Michigan isn't over yet. It could be down the line. We'll have to see how things. They're trying to figure out a way forward. But I wanted to get to the connection that obviously, and communication that obviously needs to improve with King. But more than anything else, people want to know from a recruiting standpoint, recruiting Southeast Michigan. How long of a process is that going to be? This is a staff that's only been on campus for about, 4, maybe 5 months. And you have a Michigan State and Ohio State here in town, in the state now, Marcus, that they're winning and they have some long-standing relationships. So it's been my contention that it's not going to be an overnight proposition for Michigan, taking that part of the state back over again.
Well, Southeast Michigan has produced a lot of talent over the years, and it's very competitive. Now in the Big Ten, especially when you have East and West, there's a Big Ten championship, and a lot of kids in this era haven't seen Michigan grow up and be successful. So there's already a love for Michigan State. There's already an attraction to Ohio State, and people are waiting for Michigan to become a strong football program again with a great product on the field. See, most of the kids in that area love Michigan anyways growing up, but they just don't want to go there anymore because they're not sure if they're going to win. They're not sure if the program is going to be what they heard from years ago. See, when I was coming up, Michigan won 5 straight Big Ten championships from 88 to 92. Glenn Rice won the national championship. Desmond won a Heisman. Two Rose Bowls. Next, the Fab Five showed up. So Ann Arbor was the place to be. But when you look on the flip side, that's what's going on in other places. You look at Michigan State, you look at Ohio State, and it's saying you really can't go wrong if you're a kid from Southeast Ohio because all three are relatively regionally close. So if you go to Michigan State, it's a great program. You're going to have a great time, play for a good coach, and you might have a chance to go pro now. Michigan State's, pumping out some cats. Look at Michigan, just got a new head coach trying to rebuild the program. Michigan will be back. You can't go wrong there. But when you go down to Columbus, you're looking at something different. And I've been down here in Columbus a couple of days, man, and it's just Buckeye crazy. And I can see why. I mean, national championship, great coach, guys getting drafted, so it's very competitive. They just knocked off America's nightmare, which was Alabama. Took it to Oregon and their basketball on grass. So if you're a kid from that area, you really can like all three in your own way. But once Michigan starts to dominate, if that happens again, I guarantee you a lot of those kids will funnel back to Michigan. But those relationships you talked about are so important right now, and that's why these high school coaches are creating pipelines to other places. Like, Michigan State is starting to become a hub for those kids in Southeast Michigan, and Ohio State can come up here and grab a few without any problem, where back in the day it probably wasn't like that. But it's all going to be based on how Michigan performs on the field and reestablishing those relationships with those high school coaches.
Marcus, your opinion, how important is the state to Michigan's fortunes? I mean, a lot of people say, hey, you don't need to do well in the state of Michigan to be a great program.
I agree with that. I think you need to get the best players. You don't need to get all the players from Michigan. I think you need to get the top 5 players in the state every year. If you can find a way to get top 5 out of the top 8, I think that'll give you a chance to.
So you're saying it is important then, because.
Yeah. I don't think you have to sign a bunch of guys from one state.
But you got to sign the best guys.
Yeah. You want your best talent to stay home. You know, I mean, when you start looking at Mark Ingram and those guys getting out of town, like Tyrone Wheatley didn't get away, John Jansen didn't get away, you know, guys like that. But I think for Michigan used to be able to go nationally. It was important for Michigan to get the best guys nationally. It wasn't just about Michigan. Michigan was going to Ohio, Texas, Florida, California, and everywhere in between, and they were hand-picking the best talent in every state. So when you can go to Ohio and get a Woodson or a Gerback, Desmond Howard, B.J. Askew, Manningham, going to get Sean Crable, Marcus Ray. You start hand-picking guys from Ohio, and then a guy like Tyrone Wheatley stays home. A Sam Sword can stay home, a Dre Weathers. But then you can go down to Florida and find you a Hutchinson. Go to Houston and get a Jared Irons and a Backus and a Josh Williams. Backus from Georgia. The A-Train. You can go to New Orleans and get an A-Train. That's what Michigan used to do. So the mentality's got to get bigger than just getting the best guys in the state. That's just a given.
Or at least it used to be a given.
Yeah, it used to be a given. Best guys going to Michigan, period. Michigan State got the best of the rest. And that's why, you know, I think their program from a state standpoint was a little lower, was a step down back then. Coaching was different too. But I think for Michigan, they got to go back national. They got to go back to their roots, which is Ohio and Michigan. Don't get too many guys from Ohio. Everybody thinks because they got a guy from Ohio, he might not be a great player just because he's from Ohio. You got to get the best of the best and who fits your system and personality-wise. When Lloyd Carr and Gary Moeller built that '97 team, man, they had a big tight end from the sticks of Ligonier, Indiana, named Glenn Steele, and made him a DN. See, when you look at that roster, there was a lot of dudes from a lot of different places, and that's what Harbaugh's got to do and put that talent together. But Michigan's teams have always been like that. You know, with Jamie Morris and those guys, and Mike T was from, you know, Cincinnati. I mean, guys are from everywhere. Trip Wellborn from North Carolina. So Michigan's got to be able to go everywhere, but start at home. But it ain't a whole lot of talent in Michigan. There's enough. You can get some bad boys, but don't take too many of them.
Gotcha. So it's going to take, what I keep coming back to is that it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time because, as you said, these kids haven't seen Marcus Ray's Michigan. They haven't seen Jim Harbaugh's Michigan. And they've seen Michigan State and Ohio State be really successful. And not only that, it's going to mean, these coaches in the area don't know this coaching staff yet. So it's going to take some time for that too. But in due time, with some success on the football field and some time to build those relationships, that's when you can start seeing them reap some dividends from those efforts. So Marcus, let's switch gears a little bit and move beyond talking about recruiting and just talk about some. I guess it's too early to call it smack talk, but I'm curious. Did you see Mark D'Antonio's response last week to the question about, hey, what do you think about people saying that it's going to be be Ohio State and Michigan ruling the Big Ten again? Did you see what he had to say about that?
No, I only saw what he said about programs selling hope. But
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So his response to that is other programs are selling hope. We're selling results. And, Marcus, first of all, I say, man, that's how I would be. That's how I would be acting if I were in that place. I really didn't take that much offense to that.
Actually, there's a lot of truth to that, though. Like, in my opinion, because if you just look at, for his perspective, he is selling results when he recruits. But I think what he lost, where he has forgotten that when he came in 2007, he was selling hope too.
Well, he mentioned that though. He mentioned that.
Oh, all right. So I guess he understands where Michigan is right now. I mean, it's really no comparing the two programs, but where they were and where Michigan is and where Michigan State is, then yeah, I think he's right. I didn't take offense to it. See, I think people take offense to stuff when there's some truth in it. And so like one of the Rays of Light that I wrote is, people say the truth hurts. Well, I say the truth only hurts when you've been lied to first. So Michigan's kind of been lied to in a sense that people say, well, you're still the same Michigan. You're still Michigan. No, you're not. You have to get that back because what Michigan used to be was a dominating program, went in there and ran through people and won conference championships, and that's not where it is. But for D'Antonio to make that statement, that shows confidence in what he's done, in the kids that he's recruiting, and where that program is and where it's headed. And basically, if Michigan wants to compete with that, come beat us, stop selling hope, and beat us on the field.
Well,
but
I like Marcus. I liked it. I liked that he threw a jab. It wasn't a stiff jab. You know, stiff jab would have been what he tried to do to Hecklinski at that coach's clinic. That was a stiff jab. Might have even been a right cross. So this was light. This is more like a tap. But then Jay Harbaugh fired back, and it kind of seems like the war of words is already underway before the actual on field war, is waged when the season rolls around.
Yeah. I read what Jay Harbaugh wrote. He was talking about workers and being a hard worker and stuff like that. Well, you know what? I think with social media allows you to do that out of your own mouth. Like, people can't misquote you anymore with social media. So you know how you can say, "Oh, I didn't say it like that." You know, when Mark Schneider will throw you under the bus from time to time and write something. So now when you push the send button, it's on you. But these kids nowadays want to see coaches respond. You know, they want to see, okay, yeah, they took a shot at you. How you going to respond? So that's why Harbaugh's out front. He's a general, so he's leading everything. Talking about the daddy Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. So then Jay now saying, hey, we're not going to take that. You know, we're going to respond. We heard you. So it creates that build-up. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the X's and O's and the Jimmies and the Joes going out there playing. But I kind of like when coaches kind of go back and forth a little bit and say those things to each other. I think that's wonderful, man. I think that's where we are as a society. And it's just set up for that. And you don't stop to say anything crazy, but you can feed into it and respond. And that send button now is your signature. So for Harbaugh to respond, then that makes it that much more intense when those kids get out there and play. And I can't wait to see it. But Mark D'Antonio has every right to state the facts. But that doesn't mean his results in the past, because we can all flip it and say, what you did in the past don't excite me. That's over. What you going to do now? And that's where Harbaugh and those guys are. But when you do recruit and you're a new head coach, every new head coach sells results. But see, Harbaugh's not selling hope completely. He's selling results as well, because I would like to think he's been more successful in his last few years of coaching at a higher level.
See, now this is the Marcus Ray that I know. See, Marcus, for a minute there, man, I thought you were going to go buy a minivan, have those stickers on the back to show all the kids and the dogs.
Oh, the stick figure family.
I was like, oh, man, Marcus has changed, man. But okay. You haven't turned into minivan, Marcus, yet. That's great. That's great.
No, hey, I got that Suburban, that Chevy Tahoe from Suburban. Ain't no minivan yet, baby.
See, he'll run you over with that sucker.